UFC 248 Fight Week is officially underway here in Las Vegas. We started with the open workouts here on Wednesday, and we had the top 4 fighters from the card. I am Mike Bond, joined by Nolan King, Danny Segura, a couple of the newbies here at MMA Junkie. Some interesting stuff. I think we've done the athlete panels in recent events for these pay-per-views, but on this one we went back to the open workouts, and I think because these 4 athletes historically kind of know what they're doing, good at putting on a show. We will start with you, Danny. We had Joanna and Jacek come in, and she didn't work out for too long. She said she was kind of resting and conserving her energy, but she was highly energetic in her scrum, had a lot of interesting things to say, particularly when the idea of her getting knocked out by Wally Jiang was brought up. What was your biggest takeaway from Joanna today?
Yeah, it seems the old Joanna is back. She says, her weight is completely controlled. She woke up at 123 pounds. I know there was some weight concerns in her last fight in Tampa, but that turned out to be not true. I mean, she weighed in, I believe it was a few pounds under the limit, and she looked fantastic. And not only that, but she's fighting someone that inspires that sports violence and that aggression that she brings up. So that's very important. We saw that whenever she has an adversary that sort of wants to knock her out, it kind of fuels something in her. Unlike her last fight against Michelle Waterson, where they were very friendly, she still brought that, but nonetheless, it's something that really plays to her favor. So it looks like a very confident Joanna and a very dangerous Joanna heading into UFC 248.
Yeah, and just before that, we saw Wally Jiang come out, and she was the complete opposite. The power and speed hitting those pads today was a little bit jarring to watch. I don't know if I've seen much of that from a women's MMA fighter. It was pretty crazy. I mean, what did you think about what we saw from Wally on the pads today?
Yeah, John and I were talking about it, watching her hit pads here, and man, she's just a different animal. She looked crisp, she looks sharp. Our technical striking was there. She's got a great presence for an international fighter who's, English is very, very, very limited. So she's got that buzz behind her. I thought that this was a good performance to kind of help generate that a little more, get the fight week buzz going. And then the interview too, I thought she was very open about the coronavirus issue, which I'm sure she'll be asked about a million more times before she actually steps in there. So she's answered that with professionalism. She doesn't seem overly bothered by it. She's using, if we take her at her word, her motivation that she's taking from this is, I think, the right way to channel the energy. She said she's not worried about Joanna and the trash talk and the meme that Joanna posted. So I think her head's in a good place. I think this is a good next step to kind of introduce her to the American audiences furthermore and get her to that stardom.
Yeah, I'm watching that today. Does it change your opinion on the fight at all? Seeing them actually in front of us for the first time, does that alter it all?
I mean, I thought I noticed a big speed difference, with Jiang, just her crisp striking out there, I thought looked really good. Joanna, I was kind of working on some stuff, so I was checking back and forth, but she looked good too. I think that this is as fight week goes on, I think people will get more and more excited about this. When this was announced, I think Izzy and Romero is kind of what everybody was looking at, but I think this is a great fight, and I think with Joanna's trash talk, like Danny said, and her fiery attitude this week, I think we're in for a good one on Saturday.
Yeah, and speaking of Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero, both put on entertaining open workouts as well. Yoel Romero's out there tossing his training partner, getting tossed himself, putting his body on the line a little bit here today, but Yoel's workouts are always fun. Of course, there's been some memorable ones in the past, and then he came in and he seemed to be a good place too. I thought one of the big takeaways was him kind of talking about being the oldest first-time champion in UFC history and how he wants to prove age is just a number and all that kind of stuff. For Yoel, I mean, what was your biggest takeaway from him today?
Age is just a number, because man, he's looking sharp. He does not look like 42 years old, and every time he steps on the mat, he just looks even better and better. Today, as you said, Yoel Romero Airlines today, just throwing out there people, throwing them in the air. He's looking good, man, and this is a big opportunity for him. And a lot of people thought in his last fight when he, not the Paulo Costa one, but when he came up short, fighting for the title, you wonder how many fights does he have left, and does he have a chance to get back to the title? He's lucky that, in a way, Israel Adesanya called them out. Also, that Paulo Costa wasn't in play due to injury, and he's got a huge opportunity ahead of him.
Yeah, and he actually said he wants to keep fighting for another 10 more years,
I believe him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looking good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then, of course, the champion Israel Adesanya was the last one to arrive today. Fun open workout from him. He has some fans up on the stage doing a bit of a kicking competition. Gives away free tickets at the end. I thought that was a very nice moment for him. It seems like there's a lot of positive feedback, and then he came in very uplifted in the scrum as well. What did you think of what Izzy did on stage, and then also what he had to say in the scrum?
His it factor is just continuing to grow. I thought the workout, I'm sure the UFC staff and employees were holding their breath when he had fans come up, but it was great to get the fans involved, and I think that the tickets, it shows it's just going to win him over. over more with the fans to do things like that. So that was great. He won an award at the end of it for his fight with Kelvin Gastelum, the UFC's official fight of the year for last year. And yeah, he killed it in the scrum. He gave us 8 good minutes. He called his own last question. He was direct. He addressed his staff situation. Was open about it. And man, he's just a really authentic quote machine. He's nothing's forced. Just can riff really well. And man, I think that this, again, against a guy like Yoel Romero, that's the fight that's going to elevate him even further.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for day one here in Las Vegas. An entertaining UFC 248 open workouts, as I said. We will have coverage all fight week here at MMA Junkie, so make sure to keep it locked.